Maybe it's the studios.
Wait till Ron gets
through. Gotta plug the swag.
All right. So good morning, guys. Thanks for tuning in to Cape Breton Originals Serious Sunday edition. This morning, we are going to be talking about Archibald's Wharf and the Whalley trials. And you're going to say, what has that got to do with anything? Well, guys, all we can say is this is a tangled web in which they created, and how they tried to deceive us was making it so complicated that nobody would follow it. Well, they were wrong, because we are following it, and all these events lead to the bigger picture, which is why we're in poverty and destitute on this island. So we're going to get into this, discuss it this morning. Good morning, guys. Happy Sunday to y'all. And get right into it and find out how we can fix what they broke. Okay, guys, so Marie's got the article there. Good morning, Rod, South Bar guy, and good morning, Marie.
Good morning.
Oh, she's intimidating.
So, are you going to start with the little video there that starts us off there?
Give us a second here, guys, and we're going to share a video, okay?
This is really a great video.
I love it. Because it shows exactly how passionate we are in Cape Breton.
Yeah.
About our little island.
Yeah, and these are ordinary people talking too, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's skip this goddamn ad. You gotta love ads.
Prescription.
It's okay.
It must be a good article.
Yeah, lots of but yeah, like politics just isn't for the politicians, it's for everyone, right?
Dogmar, you're the bomb, eh? Wow.
Oh, yeah.
They don't promote us at all, though. We're not.
No.
No, we're muting them. All right, here we go. What did I do? Did I mute this goddamn thing? Yes. All right.
Of Boiling Point in North Sydney today, as residents met with the mayor and council regarding the controversial sale of Archibald Wharf. CTA's Kyle Moore has the details tonight.
Were you?
Yep.
Hundreds back the North Sydney Seniors and Pensioners Club demanding answers on plans to sell the municipally owned Archibald Wharf.
Everyone here is upset because we don't have the rationale for the sale of this property to this company and to take away the playground.
Canadian Maritime Engineering, a shipyard company, is prepared to buy the land adjacent to their operation for $200,000 and create upwards of 100 jobs for the area. But that means losing the popular waterfront property.
I'm not against jobs, but this is not the place to start. Go somewhere else on the north side. There's other.
But according to the company's president, this area is the only place that makes sense for his company.
Right now we have a railway system that we want to expand. We need that.
What railway system?
We can put multiple vessels up at one time. Currently we can only haul one vessel, and that's our restriction on rolling business here.
Vessel? What has the vessel got to do with land?
2014 this was. Remember that, right, guys? I don't think we said.
Councillor for the area, Charlie Keegan, was surrounded by angry constituents. He said the island is in desperate need of the jobs the shipyard company is promising.
Cape Breton is in a tsunami. Okay? You have an eroding hospital. We have tracks, no train. We have schools, no kids.
Yeah.
Our unemployment rate on the north side is about 35%.
Residents here agree that jobs want the wharf to stay.
I'm not against jobs. I'm for jobs, but I don't think we need to give up our green space for it.
That's right.
It was so done underhanded.
Right?
The public should have notified before any of this was going to take place.
Residents will have a chance to have their say once again. Separate public meeting is scheduled for Friday in council chambers. Kyle Moore, CTV News, North Sydney.
Yeah, so that was quite the passionate group. That was back in 2014. 2014, quite a while ago, right? They had all these ideas that were going to come out of this Archibald Wharf. 100 jobs were going to come out of Archibald Wharf.
So this is 7 years later since this was on here, 2014. And good morning, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Now,
Yeah.
who can tell me about these jobs that were created? Rod, you're right involved in this. What jobs were created?
Well, it's the old story. Like it's the carrot that jobs are the carrot in Cape Breton.
Always. Right.
That's what they hold out in front of us. Okay, we're going to bring you jobs. It's the big promise to get the public on side, right?
Yeah.
And they promised hundreds of jobs. That's in the quote.
And yet there was the public. How many hundreds of people was in that video from CTV? And did that public seem like they believed this bull smoke about jobs?
I was there.
They've seen it before as well.
There was 200 or 300 people there, right, protesting this.
And did anybody think there was actual jobs going to come out of this, or they just felt it was corrupt?
There's never been an actual. Here's the thing: there's never been an actual number that given out by CME about how many people they're actually employing there.
Right.
So it goes back to the old thing, the old story. You make promises, but did they fulfill it to the people? And no. I don't think they did. So there you go. But the biggest point about this, and is that if you listen to the clip, is that there was no proper process of public consultation that went into actually them selling the land, right? They just it was an afterthought. Like Cecil signed the deal, and then he took it to council.
Right. After it was already something that was put into place that couldn't be rescinded.
Yeah. Well, this is what's so great about the Whalley trials. It brings it all out. That's why we want to do these, right?
Yeah, the Whalley trial is really the linchpin in this whole thing that we're getting to. And a lot of people think this is dry and going through all this is but that's what they want. And by they, I mean the people that control everything.
Yes, they don't want you to be interested in this.
So be warned, guys. It is going to be stretched out. It's got to do with court proceedings, but it's important for you to see how it happened. This is how it happened. Yes, it's going to be stretched out. We're going to try and make it as dry or as wet as possible. Not dry.
Yeah.
As moist.
Yeah, he hates that word too. So we're going to make it
Sinead just turned off the whole thing there.
Yeah. We're going to make it as bearable as we can because it's going to be boring for us too. And you know how we hate to be bored. All right.
Yeah.
So I was going to read that whole article, but the whole article is basically what that clip was. So what I figured, we'll go into the Whalley trial, part 1, guys, and I'll just read it through. And when you guys just let me know when you want to make a point here, okay?
All right.
So Whalley trial, part 1, setting the scene. This was August 29th, 2018.
1 second.
Hold it. What article you got up there so I can get to it? And who's
the Whalley trial, part 1.
Is it Spectator? Yes.
Spectator. Yes, sorry. Yes, Spectator.
Mary Campbell.
Oh.
What?
Sorry.
Oh.
It's all right. We're good. I can entertain the quotes.
Okay.
Setting
okay, hold on. I just got to find that.
Okay, so maybe we should tell them who John Whalley was.
Oh, go ahead. Give them a little bit of that, guys.
Here it is. The editor's note tells us everything right here.
You do it. Yeah.
John Whalley was the former Economic Development Manager of the Cape Breton Regional Municipality, CBRM. And he's suing the CBRM for constructive dismissal.
Yeah.
The case finally came to trial from 20th to the 24th of August 2018. And the Spectator was there. We're presenting our coverage in a series of articles because the trial touched on so many issues of interest to the CBRM residents. Yeah. So this is where we're starting it. And so, yeah, I really found it interesting myself because I like to see how all this stuff actually works in the background, and
a little bit of the background here is that, if I could interject, is that John Whalley was not a favorite of Cecil Clark, who was the mayor at the time. John was actually in opposition of the whole development process of the harbor that Cecil was putting in. He didn't believe in it, right? He just didn't. He just didn't think it'd work. He didn't like the way the process was going, how it was not, again, there was not very much public consultation at the time. the sale to ship of not the sale, but the involvement of ship, which was Sydney Harbor Investment Partners, I think. But essentially, John Whalley was a stumbling point in Cecil's way to get all the harbor plans in place that he was doing. There.
Yeah.
There. Okay.
Pretty much that.
So is this the Whalley trial part 1 setting the scene, Marie?
Yes, that's him. That's
Okay.
the one.
Okay, I'm on it.
All right.
Here we go. Do
So
it,
as
Bill.
I just did our little editor's note. That pretty much heads the top of every segment we're going to do here.
Mhm.
So she actually goes into explaining exactly what a civil action or suit starts with. Okay, it
Yeah.
starts when an individual or corporations disagree on a legal matter, such as the terms of a contract or the ownership of a piece of property. The person who sues is called the plaintiff. The person being sued is called the defendant. The two sides can reach a settlement at any time before the judge makes his or her decision. In fact, 98% of civil suits never make it to the courts. How do civil cases work? And if you'd like to know, you can hit that little link.
Right, and figure it out. All right.
Yeah,
So,
you can read on your own time, guys, because that's extensive.
We only got a
So-
little bit of time.
all right.
So John Whalley's civil suit against the Cape Breton Regional Municipality for constructive dismissal played out in court this week on 2 completely different levels. On the surface, it was billed a constructive dismissal case in which the plaintiff Whalley, the former economic development manager with the municipality, argued that the removal of all responsibility for port development from his
There you go.
file in May of 2015 amounted to a significant breach of his employment contract.
There you go.
So scratch that rather dry legal veneer, and Whalley's suit was something different quite entirely. Sorry, guys. I'm ad-libbing. Poor Mary. There was a peek into the inner workings of the administration of CBRM Mayor Cecil Clarke during a very controversial period that included the sale of Archibald's Wharf, the McKeel deal, and other strange doings around the port development.
We'll get into the McKeel deal again later, guys, but bear with us for now. Okay.
I trust that as a spectator reader, you are familiar with both. If you are new to the story, I suggest you make a cup of coffee, type McKeel or Archibald's Wharf into the search bar on the home page, and read everything that turns up. And that's true. You know, if you're not doing anything, it's a good thing to do. I find it interesting personally. Not everybody does, but we'll sum it up for you. So you don't have to do all of that crap. So Clarke, who was not called upon to testify himself and did not attend the trial, was nevertheless present literally from the beginning. When former CAO Jerry Ryan testified that within weeks of Clarke's being elected, he was in Ryan's office announcing he didn't believe Ryan and Whalley could work with the new administration to the end. When Whalley's lawyer, in his summation, referred to a message the mayor sent Whalley the day after he had resigned, to the effect that the door was open to his returning. Arguably, in both instances, Clarke was overstepping his authority, given that in Nova Scotian municipalities, the CAO was ultimately responsible for hiring and firing staff, and the council is responsible for hiring and firing the CAO.
There you go.
The mayor, on the other hand, according to the handbook provided to newly elected municipal councillors in 2016, is elected at large by all voters in a municipality and acts as a chairperson of council meetings. While the mayor presides over council meetings, this position has the same single vote as all the councillors. The mayor is often considered the leader of a council and has a few additional responsibilities. It is important to remember, however, that the mayor is another member of council with no extra power on decision-making. While mayors should provide some leadership to their councils, they should not use their powers to direct or focus council on any personal agenda or attempt to influence voting.
Well,
No.
we know that Cecil definitely breached that.
He should be up to here in hot water, and I don't know why he's just wandering in the street.
But
So what we need to find a pro bono lawyer who is actually willing to go out on a limb. Good morning, everyone. Go out on a limb and take on Cecil. We need someone to hold Cecil accountable and bring him to court for his actions of how he robbed CBRM residents. We are owed our dues. Okay.
So Mary says, I hope justice will be done in the actual legal case.
I wanted to talk there for 2 seconds.
My story. I'm so sorry. Carry on.
No, it's all right. But look, the Foy Pop, hear that high pitch, the Foy Pop that's before the courts that Guy LaFosse is trying to that he's had to pay like 4,500 something extreme 45,000. I don't know how much.
45,000 it was.
Yeah, $45,000. The CBRM wanted to get the information on the whole ship dealings. That's where the information on Cecil Clark is going to come out, and that's why they're trying to stop that FOIPOP.
Yes.
Protect their own ass. They're making people pay things that are supposedly free, but to protect themselves, they've somehow put a fine, we'll call it, a punitive damage. Like, I mean, if you don't come up with this money, you don't get the information. What kind of bull?
It feels punitive. It does.
Yeah.
What they say, from what I understand, what I've been reading is there are certain private issues that are in those papers, like certain deals that went on that we are not privy to know about. In the MGA, it actually tells you there are certain things that, like, there are private dealings that we as the public don't know and are not going to know about, because that is a legal contract that's binding between those people. We don't have a say in it, and that bothers me already. But it's the law. It's the way it is. But that's what we could have been giving us everything that we needed to know about, right? They kept it all.
You can't have a law from 50 years ago, 40 years ago, 100 years ago, still be in effect and implemented in the same manner it was placed in way back when times have changed. If things have changed to that much degree, and we know they have, why haven't the laws changed along with the people's thoughts? So
that could be said a lot for a lot of laws.
That's for a lot of laws, for real. It is. But it's a pain in my butt.
All right. So let's keep going with this, because there's a lot to be changed, and we got to start small. Okay.
Oh, Lord, yeah. It's like, just to know the information so we can know where to start, where we need to start changing is the way to go, I figure. All right. So I hope justice will be done in the actual legal case. I always hope justice will be done, which should probably go without saying. But I won't lie to you. My real interest this week was in this deeper current, this unnamed something. The CBRM solicitor, Tony Mosvik of the Breton Law Group, feared the trial was turning into this attempt to, as Mosvik put it, embarrass people. This trip into the weeds of the McKeel deal and the sale of Archibald's wharf. In short, this possibility of finding out what was really going on at the Civic Center during a period so puzzling, it made me start caring about local politics. And that's me too. I got to agree, Mary. I didn't give a crap until I started going, what is really going on here on this little island? This should not be so undercover stuff. I mean, everybody should kind of know. We pride ourselves on everybody knows everybody, right? Everybody knows everything that's going on the island, we all seem to think. But this stuff is what runs the island, and we need to know why it is we're so screwed over.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah, go ahead.
So the scene. This part is quite dry, guys. It's basically Mary trying to explain about her first foray into the whole judicial system here, where she's in a courtroom. As a reporter, I've never covered the courts. As a citizen, I was in court precisely once. It was during something called, I kid you not, Takeover Day in high school, when students from Sydney Academy and Holy Angels got to shadow municipal officials and employees for the day. I can't remember which employee I shadowed, but one of the things we did was step into a family court session where I watched an unhappy-looking man explain why he wasn't making child support payments. I think any thought I'd ever had of becoming a lawyer myself disappeared that day. In short, the idea of covering a court trial was somewhat intimidating, but as I was entering the provincial courthouse on Charlotte Street last Monday morning, struck as I always am by its resemblance to a giant Airstream trailer, I heard a young man who had just got through the metal detector inquire brightly of a sheriff, "Where do I go to be sentenced?" It was grounding, to say the least. If you are a member of the legal profession, or a court reporter, or a hardened criminal, or a generally litigious person, you will probably want to skip to the next few paragraphs. But if you are, as I was prior to this trial, unfamiliar with the Sydney's provincial courthouse, then read on. So I'm going to take her advice, guys, if you all don't mind, unless there's something in here you feel that the public really needs to know about the courtroom and where she sat. And
you do your thing.
I do see the judge's bench occupied for the week by Justice Patrick J. Murray, was the name of the judge who actually was there, of the Supreme Court of Nova Scotia, dominates, taking up most of the back wall. All right, and she was wanting to just explain everything as she goes here. I just wanted us to know the judge's name as we go. Okay, so Whalley's lawyer was Blair Mitchell of the Halifax firm Mitchell, Ferguson and Associates.
Marie, go right down to the headline, that the suit. So all this before,
Sounds good.
yeah. Scroll
So-
down the suit.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that she'll mention who the lawyers are and who they belong to along the way. I was thinking at first we would be missing that, but I don't think so.
She was only giving the background of the environment of the courtroom. So go ahead.
Okay, so Whalley, as noted above, is suing the CBRM for constructive dismissal. So what is that? Writing in Canadian employment law today, in 2015, Ryan K. Smith defined constructive dismissal this way. Constructive dismissal arises when an employee who has not been expressly terminated claims the employer's actions amount to a repudiation of the employee's employment contract. Citing the Supreme Court of Canada decision in Potter versus New Brunswick Legal Aid Services Commission, Smith said the constructive dismissal can take two forms: a single unilateral act by the employer that breaches an essential term of an employee's employment contract, or a series of acts by the employer that, taken together, show the employer no longer intends to be bound by the employment contract. At the very end of the trial, in his summation, Whalley's solicitor referenced these two forms of constructive dismissal, leading Justice Murray to ask Mitchell if he intended to rely on both for assessing constructive dismissal in Whalley's case. Mitchell said he did. Proving the first form of constructive dismissal, according to Smith, requires an analysis of the employee's contract and typically arises when the employer unilaterally changes an employee's compensation, duties, or place of work. When this occurs, the employee must prove on a balance of probabilities that the employer breached an express or implied term of the employee's contract, and the breach substantially altered an essential term of the contract.
All right, so stop.
Yeah.
Right there, Rod. You seen what I seen. Go ahead, state it.
Yep.
Well, basically, they broke the contract with Whalley. Like,
Yeah.
the key word, if you look at it again, is implied. Okay.
Yes.
And because, as we talked about before, like you have these, what I call, duties that you have to do, right? And and it might not be expressly written in a contract, right? But what Whalley's job was economic development. So one of his big parts of his job was development of the harbor for economic development. So what Cecil did, he went in and took that away from him. So
Yes, yeah. It's amazing because they really do lay it right out. This is the entire trial, word for word, where you can't dispute what happened. And I don't understand how this was. It's under appeal right now as we speak, by the way. It's just that the defendants have not yet answered back to the plaintiff, right?
Yeah.
That's what's happened. So they're right now looking for an appeal on this. So the second form or branch of constructive dismissal, on the other hand, occurs when the employer's actions indicate the employer no longer intends to be bound to the employment contract. The second branch does not involve a breach of the contract. Rather, it arises when the employer's conduct makes continued employment intolerable for the employee.
There you
go. The court must take a retrospective approach and consider the cumulative effect of past employer actions on the employee. The test to be applied is whether, in light of all circumstances, a reasonable person would conclude that the employer no longer intended to be bound by the terms of the contract. Let's say he has a good case in both of those, just as his lawyer thought. Just as a layman here looking at this, and as somebody who's kind of been through this.
Let's do it for the people out there, okay?
Yeah.
We've all been in positions, or maybe we haven't, where there's a change in management, whatever,
Yeah.
And they don't want you around. You're not fitting into their type of thinking and whatever, So what do? They can't fire you. So what are they going to do? They're going to make your job so hard that you're going to want to quit.
Yes.
My fellow VIPA employees out there.
Yeah. So this is what they did to Whalley.
Mm-hmm. They make you crazy.
Yeah. We're going to, we don't want you to do that anymore. We want you to go push that stone up that mountain.
You're almost talking like you know my story, Rod. Yeah, no, it's bad.
you know.
Have you been there, Janet?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what they did to Whalley. They made his job, his life so shitty at City Hall that he basically had to quit. So that's what.
Throw his hands up. Yeah, it was like, can you imagine how depressing it is to go into a place where you've been like, well, this is your job. This is your, this is what you do every day. And people go around you acting like you're either a pariah or treat you like you're an imbecile who doesn't know what they're doing. And you know you're fully competent, but they've almost got you questioning yourself. And that's what they do to you in many businesses. The fact that a municipality did this to him is disgusting. Because what does the rest of the...
I don't say it was the municipality because we're considered the municipality ourselves. I would say it was the people controlling the municipality. So because they were so manipulative in the way that they governed us, you were either with them or against them. And once they see that he was a good guy and he wasn't able to be corrupted or tainted and he had values and morals, they don't like anybody with integrity. Don't you bring your integrity and your morals into this job because you can leave them at home. And that's what happened. They got rid of them.
Let's go back. And this is during the time of Cecil Clark, right? This isn't our present leadership. There's been a whole change over there, but has there? Like, the thing that worries me about City Hall and our municipality is that we've changed our elected representatives.
But
go ahead.
But we did not change the administration people, which is where the actual decisions get made. If, like they said, the CAO, the Chief Administration Officer, is responsible for hiring staff. Who is our administration officer right now? What's the name of there? Is that Marie Walsh?
Yeah, and she was around for the whole thing, right?
She was in a different position.
Yeah. But she was moved into the CAO position.
Exactly.
That's right. Oh, it gets very interesting, guys. I know some of it may seem dry, but you'd be very surprised to hear what they actually finagle right before our eyes.
Exactly. All right. Okay.
So,
one more thing. If anybody out there knows John Whalley and he would like to put his 2 cents worth on, we would love to invite an invitation for John Whalley to come on to the Cape Breton Original Serious Sunday, any Sunday, 9 a.m., or he can do an interview with us and we can have it preempted and we can air it at a later time during our show. So just want to put that out there. We definitely want
Cecil. Hey, Cecil Clark, if you would like to have we would totally interview you. We would love to hear your version of events. Because we're very open to all information. So
Albert's right. Yeah, I agree. So we would love to invite these people on to have their 2 cents or 4 cents, whatever they want. All right, so keep going, Marie. Now we've invited them.
All right. As you can imagine, much attention was focused on the terms of Whalley's contract with the CBRM. In fact, much attention was focused whether such a contract even existed, as neither Whalley nor the municipality was able to produce it. And the description of Whalley's responsibilities as well, right?
Okay.
So, the remedy.
How can you run a municipality without a contract of what your damn job is?
Yeah.
Like, I worked at McDonald's and there was a contract for working at McDonald's.
Right? Exactly.
They want it to be a fluid job, though. They don't give you a contract. If they want to be able to put you into little places where they need filling and you don't ever know what your job is, it's really hard to clarify. Like, this poor man could not show them. This is my list of duties. He couldn't even present that. I know what my duties are.
Deliverables. Everybody, oh my God. Like, sometimes when you look at the municipality, you think to yourself, is this like a clown show?
Right.
Really? Yeah. Like, is this amateur hour? Like, do they just run by the seat of their pants? Like, no job description, no contract of what you got to do, blah, blah, blah. How long has this been going on like this? Is it still going on like
no competition for the jobs that they're holding?
That kills me every time.
Yeah, it goes on and on and on about how wrong things are being done in there. They're being handed jobs. They don't have to fight for them like everybody else. It doesn't matter what your education level is because they'll still give you that job whether you are, qualified or not. And it's just, we need to revamp the entire City Hall administration. Bottom line. Okay.
Yeah. So the remedy.
Go ahead.
A remedy is a means of resolving a civil case. There are 3 different types. Monetary remedies called damages are the most common. The judge or jury who decides the case fixes the amount of damages. The judge or jury will take into account the expenses incurred by the plaintiff. Where the law permits, they also award an additional sum to compensate the plaintiff for the loss suffered as a result of the wrongdoings of the defendant. The judge or jury is not required to award the plaintiff the amount he or she asks for it. They might even award less than that amount. In Canada, a judge or jury may occasionally award punitive damages. This is a larger award that expresses the disapproval of the community. These damages are meant to punish the defendant because the defendant's behavior was so offensive. How do civil cases work? Once again, cited on Department of Justice Canada. Okay. I have to tread very carefully here because I am not entirely sure I understand the remedy Whalley is seeking, and I stand ready to be corrected, says Mary. I believe Whalley is arguing he is entitled to 18-month severance, which he says he was promised by then CAO Jerry Ryan when he was hired, and which he was always believed was in his contract. This contract that nobody can produce, which just devastates me. I can picture him signing it thinking, I'm going to get a copy later, and he never got it. And, you know, it happened to me, so I know. Late in the trial, Justice Murray and Mitchell had an exchange about damages during which Mitchell stated that he and his friend Mosvik had agreed on the calculation of damages should they be awarded. If I am understanding this correctly, and there is no guarantee that I am, then if Justice Murray agrees that Whalley was constructively dismissed, and if he agrees that Whalley had an employment contract that included severance, then he had no duty to mitigate, i.e. reduce his losses, and his severance would not be reduced by his earnings at New Dawn. In making his case, Mitchell referenced a 2012 Canadian decision, Bows versus Goss Power Products, which Toronto employment lawyer Phil White discussed on the Employment Law 101 blog. So you're welcome to
take a look at
it. The practical impact of Bows is momentous. A significant number of employees in Toronto and the rest of Ontario have employment contracts that contain termination clauses that are silent with respect to mitigation. Previously, it was presumed that the severance or termination payments set out in these employment contracts were subject to the duty to mitigate. Bows has inverted this presumption. So Mosvik argued that there was no contract other than the letter of hire, which did not mention severance. He also, of course, argued that Whalley was not constructively dismissed, that he quit of his own free will. So severance is not in any way an issue. I'm just going to quit. I have no income, but I'm going to quit. I'm mad.
Yeah.
Imagine, right?
Right.
If the judge agrees with Mosvik that there was no fixed term severance, but still finds that Whalley was constructively dismissed and therefore entitled to common law damages, Mitchell told Justice Murray that they would admit Whalley had mitigated 1 month out. He was hired by New Dawn a month after leaving the CBRM and looked for 1 month's salary. There were some other complications surrounding lump sum payments versus payments over time, but I am going to leave that for Justice Murray to sort out. Not being a lawyer, I have little of value to say about the merits of Whalley's case, and as I mentioned, my interest in the trial was chiefly in the glimpse it provided into the goings-on at the CBRM during the period. Therefore, what I propose to do is consider the testimony of each of the 5 witnesses at the trial, noting anything that seems relevant in terms of Whalley's constructive dismissal case, but focusing on what we learned about issues of public interest like the McKeel deal. So, there we go.
All right. Do we have, hold on here, let me remove this for a second and let me see what I can find quickly here on the McKeel deal. Go ahead, Rod.
It's Archibald's Wharf again, Janet. It's the same thing, right? As far as am I right, Rod? The McKeel deal and Archibald's Wharf?
No, there's actually they're 2 separate things.
Okay, where's my note?
Oh, it's okay.
No, go for it. Yeah.
The McKeel deal has to do with the ship breaking on over at Point Edward. That's going on. They do. They take old destroyers and unused vessels, and they basically break them down, and they sell the metal scrap from them. All right, and that's a completely different deal that's happening over there. So that's McKeel.
Yeah. No, you carry on.
No, so that's the McKeel deal that's going on. There was 2 deals that happened out of nowhere. Okay, basically.
All right.
There was the CME deal, Canadian Marine Engineering, over in North Sydney that took over Archibald's Wharf, and then there was the McKeel deal that went on at Point Edward, where basically this company moved in, and they break ships over there. That's what-
Okay. I'm seeing this right now because I'm looking at a Mary.
There it
So
is.
first off, we got the public first heard about the McKeel deal in June 2015, shortly before council approved it. But the plan had actually been in the works since at least the preceding August, so August 2014. We'll go into more detail. But it seems it initially involved an elaborate scheme to construct an $18 million floating dry dock in Sydney Harbor, largely with public money to be co-owned by McKeel and CBRM. So that's just the short version of it, but they are always covering their ass, Chiffon. All right, so keep going there. I just want to get a little glimpse of the McKeel deal and what it was about.
Yeah, well, Whalley trial part 1 is done. And I'm just thinking, well, why don't we look on to Mary's little article here, October 18th, 2017, McKeel deal revisited, reading the fine
let's do
print.
that. That's really cool.
Okay. Back in August, I read, did you find her?
Well, no, I got a January 20th one of the FOIPOP findings, the real McKeel deal is the one I've got up here. But hold on, let me just go and look for the one you've got there, Marie. Keep going. I'll find it. So you said it's
okay. It's called McKeel Deal Revisited, reading the fine print.
Okay.
And it's October 18th, 2017. Mary Campbell, Spectator. Back in August, I read that Point Edwards Marine, a company majority owned by McKeel Marine, was subletting its land in the Sydport Industrial Park to Huddle Marine, another Point Edward Marine partner in the news lately for its spot of bother with the federal government over the $4 million refit of a Coast Guard research vessel. Point Edward Marine leases its property from the CBRM as a result of a very dodgy deal that went down in June 2015, and I wondered if that lease permitted subletting. So I wrote to the CBRM requesting a copy of it. The CBRM's communications people have been working on getting that to me since August 7th. But the joke, frankly, is on me because the lease is available online. It's attached to the minutes of the June 16th, 2015 council meeting.
She's good at this research.
She's so good. I really do appreciate this woman's research. And go ahead and click that link if you guys want to read further on that meeting. Okay, so during the council meeting at which Port of Sydney CEO Marlene Usher made the case for the deal, which would see the CBRM pay $1.2 million to 2 private companies, both of which list Jim Kehoe as president to buy land and then lease to a third private company, Point Edward Marine. Although the video from the meeting is no longer available, I imagine that presentation went reasonably smoothly as Usher was merely recapping material she had already covered during an in-camera session on the 2nd of June, 2015. You can read the issue paper, the sales contract, and the lease agreement here. Wow.
Yeah. See, this, like, we're at the time, our 70-year-old councillors that were in the municipality at the time, were they asleep at the wheel?
Or were, you got to wonder, like,
they were puppets. Let's just say what they were.
That's what I want to say, Janet. Yeah.
They were told, and they did not think freely, because if they did, they would have opened up their pie hole and said, "What are you doing? This is not helping the public. This is helping a couple of rich people that live here."
That's right. I wish somebody like you had been on that council, but there was not. There was a bunch of yes men. A lot of yes men. Say the only person who even that they mentioned actually who said anything was a counselor at the time, a lady May. What was her name? Mayrow. Yeah, she said something against Archibald's wharf, saying basically like, what are we hiding here? If this is a great deal for our community, why are we hiding this from the people? And you know what?
Did not Erlene Pollock fight against it? Did not Kendra Coombs fight against it? Did those ladies not get in there and give their 15, 20 cents worth? And no one listened.
Nobody listened, even though the smart ones speak.
You were dealing with that time with a council that had 3 dissenting voices, and the rest were made up of 70 plus. And I'm gonna make enemies here, but the rest were made up of 70-plus-year-old men.
Yeah, men. Oh, yep. Okay, Cecil. Whatever you say. Bye. Good old boys. Are we going for a drink after? That's what I picture. That's my mind. That's me talking.
That's exactly how it happened, though, Marie. You know, like they just They were worried about themselves, not about the actual people they represented, because they were only there for the paycheck and to see what they could suck. They jabbed a straw into CBRM, and here's what they did. They sucked us dry until there was nothing left there for them to suck, or until they got to the point where that there was no way to hide what they sucked us dry of.
Well, I think that's where we're at this point, is that the public became so involved in the goings on of council because they pushed it too far.
Yep.
It started with those in-camera meetings. Like they had over 40-some in-camera meetings in 1 year. In 1 year. Those are private meetings that the public can't see. And that was how Cecil and his crew, of which there are still a few members in the administration, got things through.
Well, there was also over 40 complaints made to the Ombudsman of Nova Scotia regarding CBRM business dealings. Now, this is 40 plus complaints to the Ombudsman.
Yeah, it was
legit business owners here on the island that feel they got shafted by CBRM politics.
Well, no,
that's 40 plus in 4 years. That's insane. That's
I made a inquiry to the Ombudsman about these deals that were going on.
Yeah.
Say, what's going on? You know, all these deals are being made in the background in camera sessions, and the public has no consultation with it. And that's,
what did he say? What was the Ombudsman's response?
There was hardly any response from that. Is that in camera meetings are the process of the municipality.
Okay, well, this is where the next little line here I got to say MGA compliant. But rereading all these documents, Mary says, over 2 years later was instructive in other ways, right? For example, it reminded me just how bizarre this deal was, with the CBRM inserting itself into what should have been a straight up private sector arrangement between the sellers or landlords, East Coast Metal Fabrication Inc., ECMF, and Sidport Operations, SOI, and the buyer or tenant, Port Edward Marine.
People need to look into who actually owns all these companies.
That gets to be pretty interesting too. The lease agreement, after identifying the CBRM as the landlord and Point Edward Marine as the tenant, begins. Whereas the landlord is the owner of certain lands and improvements located in the Sidport Industrial Park, Edwardsville, Nova Scotia. And whereas the landlord is authorized to lease real property owned by it to a third party at market value pursuant to S55C of the Municipal Government Act.
Section 50.
MGA,
Thank you.
Subsection C. That's okay. Yep.
Yeah, she's good with her law, this one, boy, I tell you.
Okay.
But then under the section labeled term renewal, permitted use and deposit, the lease agreement states the conditions that must be met before the lease term commences. The final condition is this. Go for it, Janet. It is 5.
Section 5, subsection C.
Yeah. Okay. It says acquisition by the landlord of the demised premises from Sidport Operations Inc. and East Coast Metal Fabrications.
Ooh, 1 lawyer, 3 clients.
Yeah, it seems like this gets more and more convoluted the more you read on, right? And this is just about the McKeel deal.
Right.
This is like, so the CBRM was not the owner of the demised premises, legalese for the property in a real estate transaction. It intended to acquire those premises for the sole purposes of leasing them. Is that really in keeping with the Municipal Government Act? Moreover, in doing so, the CBRM had to forego $50,000 a year in taxes and assume any environmental liabilities associated with the property. More on this later. And yes, it was to receive $90,000 a year in rent, but locking that amount in for the next 20 years, which the lease doesn't sound like a particularly good deal for the municipality.
No, considering real estate right now,
it's through the roof.
Yeah.
These are all deals from so long ago, and we're still going ahead with them. It's everything it's just flowing nicely for them still, it seems. And,
you got to wonder, right? Like, I'm going to wonder out loud. You got to wonder, like, we locked ourselves into all these deals, right? That, that are very short-sighted, but are long in contract. And you got to wonder who benefits from them.
Not the municipality, not the people living here, not us.
That's the question. Who benefited?
Okay, so who benefits on majority of anything that Cecil touched nothing helps the constituents in the areas that he was represented to work for. It's like he went in there with his own agenda to remove and steal what he could off of our CBRM, and I just can't stand it anymore. These people need to be held accountable. They need to. We need a lawyer, people. This is Aaron Brockovich, and we're calling you out. We need help.
We do need help. Like,
We do. We really do. Because, I mean, it's getting to the point where if you've got 40 complaints to an ombudsman in 4 years and there's nothing done, if you are out there in the public, if you are out there and you are yelling in media and you're telling everybody and everybody's like, yeah, that's a real shame for y'all, something has to be done, because everybody feeling sorry for little Cape Breton isn't helping us. It means real action where people are going to actually go in there and look at all of this crap. We are just little people here trying to tell everybody, look at what they did. I don't mean the little people in that way, Rod.
That's why I'm involved in this show, is that I want people, everyone that watches this show, to get involved in politics, to dig deeper, not feel that, okay, well, that's what they do. That it's our money that they're using. Yes. It's your money. It's my money. It's our money that they're using to get rich on.
Yes.
Okay.
And it should infuriate you.
Yeah. It should make everyone on this island mad.
Yep.
Jana, do you have that little clip of the little girl at the Archibald's Wharf? We were going to originally do the Archibald's Wharf decision discussed in North Sydney article that was CBC.
Yeah, the one with the little girl on the front cover.
Yeah,
Mike Lily Everett's daughter.
God love her. That little thing, and I guess she spoke on our behalf of residents of CBRM. She did for us, and it pretty much sums up, you know, exactly what's going on here. I mean, you take away the green spaces from children. You do whatever the heck you want just to get your agenda pushed through. I'm tired of seeing people suffering very badly. Like, I know that, like, it's not every day that people see everyone laying on the street here homeless or anything like you do in Toronto or even like Guelph.
Yeah, but that's happening here.
It is starting to happen now. And what's going to happen to that? Well, now they're going to start filling up jails with homeless people because there's nowhere for them to go. Apparently, I've heard that here in the CBRM, someone was told to move along. They were just sleeping on a bench, right? Like exhausted people do when they are homeless and they don't have a place to go. Sleeping on a park bench. He was made to get up. Go. You got to go. You look bad laying here. I'm tired of what people worry about things looking like. Maybe you got to look at what the problem is, get to the root of the problem and worry about that, and not what things look like. Not in my backyard. Shit's got to stop. That's got to stop. I don't care. I don't care that I've got to, if there's a clinic across the street, I'm not going to cry about that. I'm not. I'm going to cry about seeing people downtown without help because they're going to be outside the doors panhandling there. They're not going to be out there coming in and out getting help. They're going to be somewhere without help, robbing and doing things that actually they have to do to get their
to survive,
drugs, right? To survive even. Sometimes it's not even drugs. Sometimes it's just, it's tiresome though, because I do hear like there's a lot of this going on now, and we have like a lot of space. Like there's no shortage of areas to put things. No. We've got a lot of empty buildings. We've got a lot of empty stuff. So we shouldn't even have to be worrying about not in my backyard. Why is that even
Here's the thing, Marie. The people that drive the Mercedes and the Jaguar SUVs and all that have the money here, they jump in their cars after they're done whatever jobs they have, and they drive past the poor areas. They don't stop. They just go out. It must
not be their children out there, right? It's not their kids out there.
They don't care. They go out to Benyon and they live their lives, or wherever you're from.
Yeah.
You know, but here's the thing. The people that are on the streets and the hardworking people of Cape Breton built this island, right? Yeah. You know, you can't just throw them to the wolves. Okay, the little girl.
All right, but it's not a video. I don't know why. There's
no video of her? I thought for sure there had a little bit of video.
Oh.
Well, there is. We've seen it, but I don't know why today it's not allowing it to be a video. Do you see here?
It says event not found. You're right. What the heck?
Yeah.
That's Mike Lily Everett's daughter, by the way, from Slow Coaster and Holler. and she's just a wonderful little girl, you know. And
Yeah, so she
spoke
made
there.
us cry yesterday. I think Janet and I, what were we doing? We were, I think, making we were doing the cricket thing, and I was reading through this, and this little girl, she just makes your heart.
Marie,
like,
what
oh my
did you find that on? Like when you sent that to me and when you listen to it, where is it now? How could that video be gone? It's
I'm not sure, because it's right here.
Nope, Marie. Sinead just helped me out. Perfect.
Thanks, Sinead.
My girl.
Okay. All right, give me a second here.
God love you, dear. My
Thank
darling.
you for keeping me on task.
Where is Sinead anyway?
She's all the way in Arthur, Ontario. We're trying very hard to get her back here where she belongs, home with her mother.
That's right.
No, really. My grandson and Sinead and her man Jeff are all out in Arthur, and she helps behind the scenes with Janet and I.
Right.
Sometimes she tries to help us.
I really appreciate it.
Oh, I love her. She's a good girl.
All right, do your thing.
Hold on, I'm still looking for it.
Yeah, could I say while you're looking for it that listen, the reason that I'm involved in this program is because there's a feeling that politics and political discussion is supposed to be for the elites and for educated individuals, lawyers, doctors, blah blah blah. And the whole thing, if you remember Cape Breton back in the day with the Cody Institute, etc., is that politics is for the people. It's for you and I, and for the people on the ground. Do not leave your decisions up to the upper echelon of our society. We are not beholden to them at all. Okay.
Well, I was still no.
Yeah. No. Does she want to give me the search term? Archibald's Wharf, little girl speaks out.
But I want to know what the people think. I want to know more interaction from the people that tune into our program every Sunday.
I have a feeling a lot of people are just trying to figure out what is it that they're trying to do. What are they just down there like just blowing steam or what? But in a way, yeah, we are blowing steam because we're pretty mad. We've been reading about stuff for a long time.
We got some criticization.
13 years.
Criticism. I got you.
Yeah.
Section C part.
We got some criticism from an individual saying that how are we qualified to judge these people? Who else is qualified to judge these people?
Found it. Hold on. I found it.
Okay, do it.
Wicked.
They took everything that we bought for them back to
Hold on.
Montreal.
All right. Here's the little girl.
Okay, do it.
Sweetie.
I think that we should keep the boardwalk the way it is. I love going down there with friends and family. When our grandma visits, she always takes us to get ice cream there. I have some of my first memories of Cape Breton there too. If they tear down the boardwalk, they tear down a part of me too. I will not let that happen no matter what. Sincerely, Megan Kotick.
Oh, I got her name wrong. It's not Mike's daughter.
But still,
but guess what they did, people? Guess what they did to that little girl's dream?
Ripped her heart out.
They tore down a part of her. They didn't care. Go get your ice cream elsewhere, little gaffer, they said. Never mind you. Got big deals on the go.
Out of that clip, there was other people from the community that spoke out how important this green space was to them, what it meant to their family, what it meant to their life, what it meant to their mental health. All sorts of people spoke about those things, and it went on deaf ears. Not one person gave a crap about that. How could they not care if you're paid and you're elected to represent those constituents and those people? How could you close your ears? How could you close your eyes? How?
Because they benefit.
They benefit so much.
They benefit. Okay, I'm going to introduce a word, and again, I'm just throwing
Rod's
out.
word of the day. We're going to have a Rod's Sunday word of the day.
This word is kickback.
Oh, yeah.
Why are these decisions being made? I'm not saying kickbacks are happening. Protected my legal ass there. But why are these decisions made, and how are the people profiting? And who are profiting?
Because
through what means? Kickback.
Yeah.
That's the word for the day.
That is seriously the word of the day. Absolutely 100% kickback. And if you feel that CBRM is being ran with integrity and with ethics and with honor, then don't watch our show because you're
not going to want to hear it.
Yeah.
Listen, I got right now. I think I'm gonna say it, but right now, and you two might not agree with it, but I think things have changed with our. And here's the caveat: with our elected representatives.
We've got a lot of good people in there, Rod. You're
Yes,
right.
I gotta say.
I gotta say, we're loving Early. We're loving Gord.
Yeah, but my problem is not with our elected representatives. My problem is with the administration. Yeah, that's in staff there. You know, there's some sneaky buggers there.
There is. And they've been playing the field inside of the politics of CBRM since Devco destroyed us and polluted us and made thousands of us sick. And they didn't care about our health. It was all about the money. Because when we all told them that people were sick and people were getting cancer and people were not feeling well because of that, who cared? Money was happening. Jobs. Yeah. Oh, I don't care if it kills y'all. We'll get replacements. But anyways, these people have been part of that problem, and it carried on to the ECBC problem, carried on to the ACOA problem, carried on to our goddamn CBRM administration problem. Well, people, the problem has been going on for decades, and it's not going to go away. We're not waiting for them to die for things to change. I still want to live here and have things change for my grandchildren. That's what my goal.
I agree, Janet. I'm with you, girl. Yeah.
Yeah, in order for things to change, I really believe that programs like this, and I'm going to say it, the women of Cape Breton have to take more of a leadership role, like you two are doing, and like like your daughter is doing, Sinead out there. But that people don't understand as a Celtic heritage, our Celtic heritage, right? It's a matriarchal society. Okay.
Yes.
And women are naturally the leaders here in Cape Breton. Okay.
That's true. When you think about it,
they're the heart and soul of Cape Breton, right? And we need the women of Cape Breton to stand up and say, we're not going to take this shit anymore. Seeing our kids being subjected to all this crap, seeing our men have to go off to work thousands of miles away, while a few people get to just hang around and make money.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, that's my soapbox. Man, I've been on a soapbox today.
Good for you.
Thank you so much for your comments. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Please share and like this video. In order for us to get our message out, we need you guys. You are our fuel power. So if you want to help fuel us, you have to share this video. Please share the video because CBRM and its children need you. Okay, we can't appreciate you guys enough for helping us, for tuning in, for listening, and yes, because of you guys, you're helping us do what we can to do our part in CBRM. So stay tuned for next week, guys. There's all kinds more of the Whalley trials, all kinds more corruption.
And then next week, we're going to get down.
And
it's going to get more interesting as
we're going to get down.
So we appreciate your views, likes, and shares. Have a great week, guys. We'll be back next Sunday at 9 a.m. for more corruption in CBRM.
More corruption.
Guys.
More
Cape Breton Originals out.
Love you.